There were also some very important takeaways from what the CEC, Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar, said today with respect to the claims of the Congress party with regard to working of the EVMs and the alleged malfunctioning of the EVMs. The CEC has countered all of that. Let's take a look at what he said today in that important press conference.
The schedule for Maharashtra, this will be in single phase. The notifications, date of notifications are in front of you. 22nd October would be date of notification. Last date of making nomination would be 29th October. Scrutiny on 30th October. And last date for withdrawal 4th, and date of poll in Maharashtra would be 20th 11. Counting would be on 23rd 11 24, and you will notice that date of poll is Wednesday. Now, friends, coming to Jharkhand, schedule would be like this. Jharkhand would be in two phases. The date of poll, first phase would be on, date of poll would be on 13th November, and the second phase would be along with Maharashtra on 20th November. So the date of issue of notification for Jharkhand phase 1 would be 18th, and for phase 2 would be 22nd along with Maharashtra. Nominations for phase 1 would be till 25th of October, and for phase 2, 29th. This slide we will share with everyone. And date of poll would be 13th November and 20th November, both Wednesdays. And date of counting would be 23rd 11, that is Saturday.
So that was the Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar announcing the election dates for Maharashtra and Jharkhand just a short while ago. But Maharashtra clearly in the spotlight. It's a big state with many issues and also nuances of caste and community. My colleague Anuj is reporting from Maharashtra, and he has a few people with him. Tell us, Anuj, this is a big day for the state. Mumbai and Maharashtra are battle ready finally. What is the sentiment on ground, and how are people looking at this announcement?
Yeah, it is a big day indeed, and the revelation about the date has finally happened, something that the people had been waiting for quite some time. Now, of course, preparations will begin from the end of the politicians when it comes to campaigning, but I've got a few people here at the Carter Road here in Mumbai, in Bandra West, who had come here to enjoy their little walk, but I had to bother them with the questions. Coming to you, sir, tell me, how long have you been living in this city?
I came here in 1978.
Okay. Sir, what is it today that you look at and say, this is that one problem that needs to be solved?
The continuing lack of concern or care for people who don't drive cars.
So transport, you mean, is a...
Generally.
Okay.
Yes, that is one of the big concerns. And of course, it's related to a whole bunch of other concerns like housing, decent proximity to places of work, the fact that work has just gone out of the city in the time that I've been here. All of that.
Okay, okay. इन्होंने कहा कि जो रोड्स या फिर ट्रांसपोर्ट है वो एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है. सबसे पहले मुझे बताओ कि तुम क्या मुंबई से हो या बाहर से आते हो?
मैं बाहर से हूँ, मैं यूपी बरेली से हूँ.
तो मुंबई में कब आए?
मैं 2020 में आया.
तो मुझे बताओ कि पिछले 3 सालों में तुम्हारा एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा है मुंबई में ट्रैवल करते वक्त? क्या तुम्हें लगता है कि ये ट्रैवल है, ये ऐसी चीज़ है जिसमें जो नए MLAs आएंगे, आमदार आएंगे, वो इसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट कर सकते हैं? अभी फिलहाल का स्टेटस क्या लगता है?
अभी तो जिस हिसाब से काम चल रहा है तो काम बहुत स्लो चलता है यहाँ पे.
ओके.
हाँ, जैसे मेट्रो का भी वो भी बहुत काम स्लो है. हाँ, तो मुझे ये चीज़ बस समझ नहीं, अच्छा नहीं लगा मुझे, क्योंकि मैं इतने साल में देखा, जब से मैं आया तब से आधा काम वहीं का वहीं अटका हुआ. हाँ, SB बोर्ड का मैं देख रहा हूँ, कुछ भी नहीं बन पाया. जैसे मैं 2020 से आया हूँ, आधा ही हुआ सिर्फ. हालांकि ये साल का बोला था, ये साल में चालू होगा, बट अभी मैं उस वाट से ही काम पे जाता हूँ, तभी मुझे वैसा ही दिखा. और यहाँ पे मुझे थोड़ा सा बारिश का दिक्कत लगा. बारिश में पानी काफ़ी जगह भर जाता है, तो वो चीज़ नहीं होना चाहिए. उसकी सुविधा यहाँ निकालनी चाहिए. बाकी यहाँ पे जो महाराष्ट्र, मुझे मुंबई बहुत अच्छा लगा, यहाँ के लोग भी बहुत अच्छे लगे. मैं यहाँ पे जॉब करता हूँ. मुझे थोड़ी सी महंगाई ज़्यादा लगी यहाँ पे.
Okay. Now, there are some really important points that he has raised, and I think we can look at it from a broader perspective about, when we are deciding from a government's perspective on how to draw balance when it comes to lifestyle of the people and giving them a sort of comfort, and also having infrastructural development at the same time. Having stayed in the city for all this while, how do you look at it? How do you think that the government still now have kind of managed to, draw a line between these two?
I actually don't think there is no coordination, there is no balance. We are progressing as a country, yes, we need to like dwell up and everything, but there is no balance because we are not communicating. So where we are having buildings, what about the drainage? What about the water supply? When you're talking about transportation, yes, but at what cost? What are you destroying? You know, there's no practicality sometimes, I feel, where people don't really think and make plans. The plan is there. I want it to look like Dubai. I want it to look like New York. I want it to look like some fancy Singapore or something or the other. But how practical is it for us right now? Do it step by step. And I don't know, right now I feel everybody just wants to take credit for everything that they have done, though it's been in the pipeline since forever. That's my personal view.
Okay. Now, these are some important voices coming from Mumbaikars who've stayed here either for all their lives or have just come here to study or work. And then they point out at the importance of, not just looking at elections or public work from a broader spectrum, but also to look at hyper-local issues, which are the ones which actually affect the least common denominator in the society the most.
Thank you, Anuj, for joining us with those voices. Clearly, there's a lot of excitement and also demands, as there must, for what needs to change about Maharashtra. Also joining me now is Neerja Chaudhary, who's a senior journalist, Rohit Chandavarkar, author and senior journalist, and also Dr. Kartikeya Batra, who is a political researcher. Thank you, all of you, for joining me on this broadcast. And thank you for waiting. Before I come to you, let me also go across to my colleague, Sunil Prabhu, who was there at the ECI's press conference today. Sunil, tell us about the big takeaways from the ECI's press conference, because the election commissioner also said that India does have gold standards of free and fair elections. He pointed to Jammu Kashmir elections. He also responded to the Congress party's claims. Tell us the big takeaways from his press conference today.
Well, I think the big takeaway, from the Election Commission's perspective is to ensure a free and fair election and not change the dates as they did in Haryana at the beck and call of the BJP. From the 1st to change to the 5th of October, which was, not accepted by the Congress party. This time round, they have consciously ensured that the 13th of November and the 20th of November are in the middle on Wednesday, so as to ensure, things play out. So that's one thing. They've also come out heavily against the exit polls. The third most important point, to ensure that the free and fair election, though nobody really asked them, and he didn't specify about the M's, but nobody today talks about the model code of conduct. And as you've seen in the run-up to the announcement, a huge amount of, slew of announcements have been made by various governments. So it's in that backdrop that the Election Commission, apart from, of course, refuting those charges on the EVMs, not being able to give and saying it's a technicality about the 99% battery charge of the thing, but he'll put it in a frequently answered questions on the EVMs so as to ensure those apprehensions that have been raised will be answered. Apart from, it's their duty to respond to every person who has raised those queries, those candidates in those 20 instances in Haryana.
Right. Thank you, Sunil Prabhu, for joining us with those details. Now, going across to Neerja Chaudhary. Neerja Chaudhary, in 2019, the Mahavikas Aghadi, which then comprised unified Shiv Sena, a nationalist Congress party, which was also undivided, along with the Congress, had won 154 of the 288 seats. This time, of course, Shiv Sena has split, NCP has split. Clearly, the dynamics are different, and it's all happening in the backdrop of Haryana elections. But in the Lok Sabha elections, we did see, the narrative around the constitution. We saw the prices of soya bean, cotton also becoming important issues. What do you think, are the most important issues on agenda for the opposition, and also what are the challenges for the ruling party?
Look, as you said, that the Mahavikas Aghadi of the Congress party, Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray group, and Sharad Pawar's NCP, they got 30 Lok Sabha seats out of 48. They did very, very well. And one of the reasons was a ground sentiment in their favor. There was sympathy because people were not happy with the way the BJP had split the two parties, the Shiv Sena and the NCP. Now, people may have, taken out went to their spleen, what they had felt, and voted overwhelmingly for this group. But will that sympathy remain for a second time? that normally doesn't happen in politics. Once you express your sympathy, it manifests itself in political vote. So that is the one big question mark. Does the goodwill for the MVA continue? The second part, of course, is that, of course, they are a coalition. There have been efforts that Shiv Sena move away. There have been all kinds of efforts made, but the alliance is held firm and intact. Of course, it doesn't have a clear leader. We don't know whether they'll still announce a leader, the chief minister candidate of the alliance, or they will go without one and say whoever gets the largest share of seats, that group will have the CM's post. Now, of course, on this side, BJP side, Eknath Shinde clearly continues as the CM candidate, and in all likelihood will be repeated if they come back to power. Now, what are the challenges? The issues have been changing in the last weeks. There was Badlapur first, and it almost seemed that entire Bombay had come out on the roads. People were so exercised by the rape of those young kids, school-going kids. And then suddenly that died down, and what came to the fore was Shivaji's statue, falling down. And that became a question of Maratha pride. Which the opposition played on. And now Baba Siddiqui's murder. And people's fear that are we going back to the old days of the 90s where gangs ruled the roost? In Maharashtra and particularly Bombay. And you could have a murder like this take place, and there's connections being made with Lawrence Bishnoi, who is in prison. I mean, it is all unfolding. What impact this will have actually when the vote takes place remains to be seen. So on the BJP side, they have come out with a lot of social welfare schemes. The Ladli Ladki Yojana, modeled on the Ladli Behna Yojana in Madhya Pradesh, which was a game changer for the BJP. How much of a difference will it make? Because money has already been transferred to women. Women are emerging as a very key constituency.
Let me ask that question to Rohit. Rohit Chandavarkar, how do people of Mumbai or Maharashtra respond to welfare schemes? And what is, when you compare the Azad Maidan Dashera address versus the Shivaji Park Dashera address, do you think that Eknath Shinde in the last 2 years has been able to, project himself as, he doesn't have the legacy, he's not a Thackeray, but he clearly, has he been able to project himself as a better Shiv Sainik, somebody that Bal Thackeray would be proud of? Has he been able to do that? Do you think that he has more relatability when it comes to Shiv Sena workers?
Great question, Vasudha. In fact, the last reference point that we can refer to in terms of how well Eknath Shinde has established himself as an alternative Shiv Sena leader competing against Uddhav Thackeray, that reference point is Lok Sabha results. And if you can see, if you can remember those results, I'm sure you have the figures and the graphs ready. His strike rate, Eknath Shinde's strike rate has been the highest, the best. Of course, Congress parties was higher, but on the Mahayuti side, I'm saying, nobody expected that, he would tide over this sympathy wave that was created or that got created in favor of Uddhav Thackeray. So Eknath Shinde is doing reasonably well, I would say. Coming to the next part, which is, the Ladki Bahin, Mukhyamantri Maji Ladki Bahin Yojana, broadly based on Madhya Pradesh's Ladli Behna Yojana, I can report that part before I get into analysis that, I can see the women from weaker economic sections really being excited about this scheme. 1,500 rupees coming to their bank accounts every month. People sitting in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore may think, it's such a small amount. What difference does it make? But for women in Marathwada, remote areas of Vidarbha, North Maharashtra, South Maharashtra, rural parts, it looks like, and the regional media is reporting it, solidly, it looks like it's made a lot of difference for Eknath Shinde's party. And they're branding it a lot. They're advertising about it a lot. Yesterday's decision that the entry points, 5 entry points to Mumbai city will become toll-free from today. That also has been, that's gone viral on social media, and that's getting a huge positive response. So I'm saying on one side, just about 10 days ago, 15 days ago, or 1 month ago, we thought that, the Mahayuti was on the receiving end of public fury. And perhaps because of all these things that Neerja ma'am also mentioned, the Shivaji statue incident, the Badlapur incident, and many other things, we thought that the Mahavikas Aghadi, Sharad Pawar, Uddhav Thackeray, Congress's side, was kind of gaining ground. That's what we thought, let's say about 15 days ago, till about 15 days ago. Today, we can say that the election is going to be neck and neck. And that's mainly because of these flagship, direct benefit transfer, as it is called, schemes, where people are actually getting money and they're getting discounts on road toll and other things. So I think it's going to be a tough fight, and you cannot predict who's right now ahead or who's lagging behind, whether it is Mahavikas Aghadi or Mahayuti. It looks like they are neck and neck in the race right now, Vasudha.
Right. Karthik Batra, there's one thing about the BJP that I'd like to tell you, because I cover the party. Amit Shah has been focusing a lot on meetings with workers. In fact, he's meeting workers in groups of 1,500, 2,000, because the party certainly believes that there is a need to mobilize cadres, something that they've learned from the 2024 Lok Sabha election result. How important, sir, is it for workers to be motivated to work for the party, especially when they are part of an alliance like this, when they're not even the senior most partner, when they are the junior partner, although their party actually had the maximum number of seats when it came to assembly elections. So how important is that fact, and do you see the BJP correcting some of its mistakes when it comes to Maharashtra?
Thank you, Vasudha. Vasudha, I think the power of network and organization was very visible in Haryana, which was an election that was managed more at an organizational level than at a top-down level, which is what the BJP has gotten used to in the last few years. So for sure, I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on, that worker morale and worker sincerity is important. And this victory in Haryana, for example, would have come as a huge booster shot for workers of the BJP in the state of Maharashtra, which was till a month ago or a few months ago was considered to be a beleaguered state. I still don't think that it's going to be an easy battle for either side, as Sir was mentioning. I'll just add one more layer to this analysis, which is that issues have been very well covered. The history has been covered by Neerja ma'am. But I think a lot will also depend on how the alliances function, whether one is more dysfunctional than the other, how does seat sharing take place, what part of the pie is given to the weaker parties. You mentioned, for example, that Eknath Shinde Shiv Sena emerged with a much higher strike rate than the Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena. The problem with NCP Ajit Pawar is the exact opposite, that they essentially came up cropper when compared to what Mr. Sharad Pawar's NCP was able to get in the Western Maharashtra region. So I would say that the Maharashtra election will be very tricky to call, because A, the state is huge. So it's not one election, it's a combination of 4 or 5 different elections that are happening at the same time. B, these alliances will form very complicated equations. It's going to be very important to see how the Shiv Sena Sharad Pawar versus the Shiv Sena Ajit Pawar contests take place, how the Congress versus BJP contests take place, how the Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray versus the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde contests take place. A lot will also depend on these. And if you look at the chemistry at this point, I would say that is where I think, from a distance at least, and maybe Sir can correct me, that the MVA, at least on the face of it, seems to be just a little better when it comes to the chemistry on the face of it than the Mahayuti, with things about Mr. Ajit Pawar being sort of told and said in the media at least. A lot still needs to happen. It is, I think, still a month away. And that is what I would say. It's not going to be a one-sided affair for sure. But there are just so many wheels within wheels in this Maharashtra election that will make it fascinating and also quite a nightmare for analysts.
Neerja ma'am, you talked a lot about Jat Shahi in all your analysis pieces, which also seems to be the most important reason why the Congress party lost Haryana or managed to, did not manage to stall the BJP. How important is, Maharashtra is also the land of political Buddhism. There is that very important Dalit factor there. We saw Rahul Gandhi visiting one of those Dalit kitchens as well. How important is the Maratha factor there, and how important is it for the parties to reach out to smaller communities and not really focus on one community, because we clearly saw what happened in Haryana?
Look, the Haryana factor, the age factor, the impact it will have on Maharashtra is being greatly debated. Now, in Haryana, it became a Jat versus non-Jat fight of a kind that possibly the last two elections had not seen, even though that factor had led to the victory of the BJP in 2014 and 2019. Now, the dominant Maratha caste, will there be a OBC consolidation against the dominant Maratha caste? That is a question mark. Much more than in the past, will the Haryana election results influence Maharashtra? Will the Dalits who had, a chunk of Dalits who had moved to the Congress during the Lok Sabha elections, as somebody was saying, fearful that, if Mr. Modi came back with 400 plus, the constitution may be changed and reservations for them ended. But in Haryana, there was a clear shift of these Dalits back to the BJP because they didn't want to see the Jat sitting, what they said, hamare sir pe nahi baithe, Jat Shahi will return. So that fear got them moved to the other side. Now, will that also happen in Maharashtra? OBC consolidation in favor of the BJP, Dalit, a section of the Dalit moving back to the BJP, and also whether, they will make the same mistake that, made the Jats larger than life.
Right.
Haryana poll campaign. Will that happen in with Maratha community? Sharad Pawar, being the savvy politician that he is and very, very experienced, I think will ensure that that does not happen.
Okay.
But one thing is clear, the issues are going to be local, but the impact of the election is going to be national.
Okay. Rohit, would you also help us understand how are the caste dynamics going to play out in Maharashtra, and how are parties strategizing and re-strategizing this, especially after Haryana, this whole Maratha versus non-Maratha factor?
Vasudha, as I see it, Haryana, there were two factors. Everybody here knows about it. First, of course, was the caste factor that was mentioned just now. And second factor, of course, was that the vote got split three-way, four-way. I'm talking about the anti-BJP vote, which got split among rebels and Aam Aadmi Party or whatever. For an outsider like me, those are two prominent things that happened in Haryana. And now the discussion in Maharashtra, or the reason why Mahayuti is kind of getting excited over Haryana results and thinking that, similar thing can happen in Maharashtra, is again these two things. That in that sense, Haryana election is going to be quite similar to Maharashtra, because here you already have caste polarization, which you saw in the Lok Sabha polls because of Maratha reservation agitation. That kind of polarized the Marathas, and that, the BJP got a hit in Marathwada region, especially. They just won one seat, the Sambhajinagar seat in Marathwada. In Vidarbha also, and in Western Maharashtra also, they suffered losses because of that caste polarization. That caste polarization will continue in these assembly elections. Maybe it will get more acute. But the latest thing that I'm watching, and all of you on the panel and your viewers might be interested in that, is the emergence of Third Front and the emergence of Raj Thackeray and emergence of 2-3 other forces, which many feel, and I'm not commenting on that, I'm just reporting what others feel. Many feel that it is all of this is encouraged by the BJP or the BJP-led alliance. There is a third front that is emerging, led by former Rajya Sabha member Chhatrapati Sambhaji Raje, another leader, Raju Shetty, a farmer leader, and one MLA known as Bachchu Kadu, who's an independent MLA, but a very popular one in Vidarbha. These three have got together and they have formed what they call is the third front, and they're criticizing the BJP and the Mahayuti day in, day out. A similar thing you'll see in case of Raj Thackeray. There is sudden resurgence of Raj Thackeray, him, touring all over Maharashtra, holding a lot of rallies. So what I'm coming to is, caste factor is there and it'll work on the ground. The BJP, of course, is working on its OBC backing, OBC basis and all of that. But the second issue, similar to Haryana, is, the anti-BJP vote getting split three ways. Some votes going to Raj Thackeray, some going to Third Front, some going to MIM perhaps, etc., which we did not see in the Lok Sabha elections. We saw
that I think, Rohit, is the most important point. Not just the caste factor, but also division of the opposition vote. Thank you so much, all of you, Neeja ma'am, Rohit, and also Kartikeya Patra for joining us on this. Congress MP Eknath Shinde also joins us now. Thank you, Ms. Shinde, for speaking to NDTV. The dates are out. Congress had put up a good performance in the Maharashtra elections of 2024, particularly in places like Vidarbha, where the party was also fighting the BJP directly. How do you see the Congress party's fight in the upcoming elections in Maharashtra, particularly after the setback that you faced in Haryana?
Not at all. Maharashtra is going to deliver. We're going to, in fact, not only repeat Lok Sabha performance, but make it better and stronger. We're emerging as a very strong party in the coming election result, as you will see, because what happened in Haryana, I don't want to comment on whether it was rigging the machines, whether it was something else. It's not. We're not going to let it happen in Maharashtra because. Firstly, we have the Mahavikas Aghadi over here. And, the bureaucracy, be it the administration, they are fed up with the government as well, as you can see, because whatever's happening in Maharashtra, whatever's happening in Bombay since the past couple of days in Maharashtra, there's so much pressure on the administration to do the wrong things. Even conscientious officers are falling prey to the selfish vested interests of this government, So therefore, what you will see in Maharashtra is going to be historical, and the Congress and the Mahavikas Aghadi is going to emerge, like I said, not just come back, but come back stronger.
Okay, Pranidhi ma'am, how do you intend to counter the welfare push of the Shinde government or the Mahayuti government, be it the Ladki Behan Yojana or Diwali bonus to BMC? Because welfare did help the BJP in states like Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, even the Congress party in Karnataka.
Welfare policies are written in the manifesto. They are a part of the GR. They are a part of the thinking that happens within the government, which should have happened when they came into power. This is clearly an election stop because it came on the evening of elections. They got the elections postponed. I mean, I don't want to make any accusations, but I can't put anything beyond this government. They didn't declare elections for the longest time because they wanted to reach to as many women as they can. But the women of Maharashtra, which has always been a progressive state, are smarter than they think it is. This is nothing but a bribe, and they're so used to bribing. Even during the Lok Sabha, we saw that this was a historic election because in spite of the BJP using Sam, Dam, Dand, ED, everything, democracy prevailed, right? People didn't succumb to all that. So even now, the very smart women of Maharashtra are not going to succumb to this. They'll take the money. They know it's their money, but they will not vote for this government. And they know that this is the kind of a bribe which happens only during the elections. And not just that, but Maharashtra is also going to face bankruptcy because of this Yojana. They have stopped giving money to various other welfare schemes which involve water, which involve agriculture, farmers, light bill because of this Yojana. So it's taking a back seat, all these things. And it's going to be very sad, the situation after this. But having said all that, money can't buy love. And that's something they need to know. These women will not vote for them, but they'll take the money, but they will not vote for them. If 4-year-old children, daughters are getting molested in Maharashtra, if people are getting beaten up, if women are getting raped in Maharashtra, it's more than just money. It's about mentally giving strength to the women, which this government is not able to do. In fact, on the contrary, they're objectifying women and they're assaulting women and also backing those people, in fact, who are assaulting women and are doing injustice to women.
What happened in Badlapur and also incidents like Baba Siddiqui's murder, is law and order top on agenda when it comes to what the opposition would be raising as part of its election campaign?
Yeah, most definitely. If they're taking 24 hours, 48 hours to lodge FIRs, if the trustees of a certain school are absconding for the longest time, whether it was an encounter. I mean, there are people who are plotting murders from jails in Gujarat, and unka kyun nahi encounter fir ho raha hai? And they are everything is politically motivated. Every criminal is backed by the solid political parties which are in power in the center and in the state of Maharashtra. Therefore, the himmat, how can you have the guts to do this in broad daylight, whether it's a school, whether it's an ex-former minister. Even today, a guy on a bike got thrashed in public by 8 rickshaw walas, beaten to death, and there was just bystanders were taking. I mean, this is the audacity. You see, this is the mentality where people think कि हम ये कर सकते हैं और हमको हमारा कोई कुछ बिगाड़ नहीं सकता. This is such a dangerous trend that's happening in Maharashtra. There's absolute collapse of law and order.
Well, Praniti ma'am, the Eknath Shinde faction still managed a better performance in number of seats as opposed to Uddhav Thackeray. So when we talk about your ally, which is the Shiv Sena that's led by UBT, there's been a lot of talk about sympathy factor. But considering Lok Sabha elections, the results and the way Shinde performed, do you see sympathy as a prevalent factor? Do you see that as helping the MVA?
Look, we're fighting together, we fought together, and we delivered, right? So this is what we're going to do even now. What we are promising to the people of Maharashtra is a very stable, strong government, which is interested in development of the state, not our development. We're not bribing people, we're not giving them boxes of 50 crores, and they have seen our work. And this government is an unnatural government, which was not even voted to power by the people. So exactly in Lok Sabha, if these guys had delivered, they would have come back. They would have had more seats than us. But as Maha Vikas Aghadi, we're fighting a very strong fight over here. We're fighting it well. We're fighting it on moral and ethical grounds, and we're fighting it on the basis of development and on solid manifestos. And I'm sure we'll emerge as winners together.
Yeah. That's well said. But ma'am, in the Lok Sabha elections, we also saw the Congress party giving away seats such as Sangli and, some in Mumbai to your ally, specifically Uddhav Thackeray's party, Shiv Sena. And Sangli is where your independent candidate that was backed by you also won. Is there a change in that attitude considering your performance in Lok Sabha elections in Maharashtra, or will you address some of these complaints that these allies keep raising that Congress plays the big brother?
No, definitely. In fact, I feel that the Mahayuti is having a major problem with seats sharing. We're not having a problem except for a couple of seats maybe, but everybody will have to take a back foot for the development of this state. And I think that's exactly what we're doing. We are focusing on the fact that we're going to be able to give Maharashtra a very stable and strong government, not for vested interests. So even if, country first, party, and then self. And that's what we believe in. And this is exactly what we're going to do for the seat sharing. If either of us have to take a back seat, well, we will do it.